What's going on, guys? Welcome to another incredible episode of Vigilantes Radio Live, right here on iHeartRadio. I am your host, Dini. We have a very special guest for you guys, and I can't wait to dive deep into this interview. Before I invite my guest on, I do want to say, don't lose sight. This is the frequency of the fearless. You know, there was a time when music wasn't background noise. You sat with it, you held it in your hands, you studied the artwork, you memorized the lyrics, you replayed entire albums from beginning to end because the experience meant something. Music used to slow people down. Now everything moves fast. There's skip buttons, algorithms, playlists built for attention spans instead of emotional journeys. And somewhere along the way, a lot of people stopped feeling music the way they once did. Well, tonight's guest is pushing against that current, not by chasing trends, but by bringing intention back into the experience, because art was never meant to be disposable. It was meant to stay with you. This conversation is about nostalgia. It's about creativity, emotional storytelling, and reclaiming the human connection between artist and listener. Because maybe the future of music isn't just innovation. Maybe part of it is remembering what made people fall in love with music in the first place. You're not just here for a talk show, and this isn't just radio. This is revival for your mind, body, and spirit. This is Vigilantes Radio Live. My name is Coach Dini, and change is possible. Are you ready?
Well said.
Well said. All right, man. Welcome to the show, guys. Welcome to the show. Our guest is Julian Shah-Tayler, also known as the Singularity. He is a singer, songwriter, producer, remixer, and composer whose work blends alternative, cinematic, and new wave influences into immersive musical experiences. Throughout his career, he has collaborated with legendary artists connected to David Bowie and beyond, while also building a respected solo catalog recognized internationally. His acclaimed album, maybe I may mispronounce this, I'll let you do it. What's the name of your acclaimed album?
The acclaimed one. I don't know. I have a few acclaimed ones. Elysium, maybe, or Hone Tatamae. Those are the last two.
Hone Tatame. Is that correct?
That's as far as I know. It's a Japanese phrase, and I'm not Japanese, so maybe I'm mispronouncing it as much as anybody else will.
Well, this album was named the #2 album of 2025 by New Wave Podcast, and his latest creative movement aims to restore emotional connection to music through physical listening experiences and intentional artistry. So please join me in saying welcome, friend, to Julian Shah-Tayler. Welcome, my friend.
Taylor.
Shah-Tayler,
S-H-A-H. Shah, yes.
Julian Shah-Tayler.
There you go.
All right, Julian. My apologies, man.
No
worries.
But
welcome. Before we dive deep, Julian, what's been on your heart and mind lately?
Well, I've been working with a great friend and associate, David Chatfield, and we're putting together basically a remix album of my greatest hits, which is coming out. And we decided to put an intention behind the release. So the album is called Easy to Love, and it contains pretty much all of my songs which I wrote about love and optimism and forgiveness and all those things. That is not the entire of my catalog that does that, but we definitely handpicked this lot because we feel that there is a lot to be sad about in the world currently, and I think that we should lean towards joy and love and spread it amongst each other and amongst our friends and our family, and just focus on what's important, which is the here and now and your surroundings.
Absolutely. So easy to love. In your perspective, is it easy to love you, or
it's easy? I mean, Easy to Love is basically, the song is called Easy. This is the one single that's the first. It's the new song from the record because the rest of it's remixes of old hits. And the song is basically about, you could either be looking in the mirror and telling yourself that you are easy to love, or you could be telling everybody else that they are easy to love, because it is always a choice, right, between either love or fear, as Bill Hicks once said. And I choose love, and I wish everybody else would.
Yeah. But I meant in terms of, do you consider yourself easy to love, or do you find it easy for you to love?
Yes.
I mean, which one?
Both.
All right.
Everybody has somebody out there that loves them, I believe. And if they don't, I feel bad for them. And that's where you need to search deep and find. I mean, I'm a practitioner of transcendental meditation.
Okay.
And by any other means, any access to something greater than ourselves, any connection with the cosmic consciousness that flows between all things, that is easy to love also. So the song itself reflects not only love of a person, but love of a concept, love of existence, love of humanity, love of life, love of consciousness.
Yeah. And you mentioned something too. You said forgiveness as a part of the love spectrum. And,
that's the hard one.
Yeah. I was going to say, man, in today's age, we have the thing where it's like, if someone screws you over, do something to you, you have to get revenge, or what we say over here in my CD, get your lick back, like a game of tag. If you hit me, I'm going to chase and hit you back,
It's an eye for an eye, isn't it? The code of Hammurabi.
Yes, yes. We know old religions have taught that, and then it has transpired into everyday living, even so nowadays. So the forgiveness part is, I think, is one of the hardest part, but one of the truest form of what love really is, because love doesn't hold any records, if I remember correctly. Uh,
Mhm.
what has been your experience with forgiveness?
It's the hardest one to do. I've found myself. I mean, the beauty of being a creative or a songwriter or a poet or a writer of some sort is that you can always write down your emotions and produce work that reflects those emotions without having to enact them in the real world. I've been subject to some disappointing experiences quite recently, and betrayal being a big one, which has been quite um, consistent recently. And of course, I'm quite a self-reflective person, but I also need to feel the emotion and work through it before I learn to forgive and move forward. I think the Buddha said that you always have to feel every emotion, but you always have to observe it rather than act on it, because suffering is the thing we try and avoid in the world. So I'm very happy to avoid suffering by talking about the emotion, getting it out, and then attaining forgiveness at some point. And I don't think it's easy, and I don't think it's possible to really viscerally feel forgiveness. I think intellectually you can feel it, and spiritually you can feel it, but you'll always carry a little germ of, I don't know whether it's anger or disappointment or something, unless you're a Buddhist monk who's been meditating on this same subject for 35 years or something. Maybe you can forgive
Mm,
people then. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. And you mentioned meditation. What does that look like for you?
Well, I do transcendental meditation, which is very famously taken by the Beatles in 1967 with the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. And it's a certain type of meditation. It does not require any spiritual belief system. It's basically a sort of technology. I describe it as having a screensaver for the mind, because obviously everybody has this monkey mind, which jumps around and goes on to different ideas and, oh, look, a squirrel. And sometimes you really just need to switch that off. And the usefulness of transcendental meditation is that once you switch it off, it's a 20-minute practice every day, twice a day, and you can achieve stillness just for a moment in the day, which then yields answers and results and things like that. It's very strange. It's like if you have a question that's been bothering you and you think about the question, you try and figure out all the angles. That's a different experience to when you emerge from meditation with the answer fully realized in your head. It's very funny. If you listen to Meditation, Transcendence and Peace, which is a film that David Lynch made, he did a tour. And David Lynch, who was a practitioner of transcendental meditation as well, he started a foundation and he did a tour to try and promote it throughout the world. That was actually probably the thing that convinced me to give it a go in the first place, because I'm a huge David Lynch fan as a director. So
Mm,
it's different than a lot of different types of meditation because it involves no concentration. It is an abstraction of thought, not a concentration. So I once had a discussion with Moby, the electronic artist, about this, and he likes his mindfulness meditation, although he has tried transcendental. Now, I like mindfulness meditation, but transcendental meditation does the thing I need it to do, which
mm.
is switch my mind off for a while. I really like doing that. And I used to try doing that with drugs and drink, and that's not as productive.
It takes you down different journeys. It takes you deep sometimes, and you go you go down a rabbit hole a lot of times with feelings and emotions. I try what you mentioned, the mindfulness meditation, because I, like you mentioned, the monkey brain. I tend to have that. Where I say, oh, look, a squirrel, but for me, it's thinking about the past or some kind of hurt or some kind of betrayal or something that didn't go my way. And I have to snap at myself like, hey, focus, look straight. We're going this way. Not, you can't go straight looking backwards or you'll run into something.
You need the focus. If you don't have
Yeah.
focus, then you just go all over the place, don't you? So
Yeah. And I'm such a huge thinker, man, that I could dive really deep into my thoughts and go to different places that I shouldn't go. But yeah, I may try, what you mentioned with the meditation just to see if it works for me too. So you also mentioned that you're putting out what you consider your greatest hits. So who helped determine that these were greatest hits, and how did you? I can assume that is a very hard task to do, to take a collection of your music, your work throughout the years, your progression, and decide which one's is the greatest hit.
In reality, it was. I mean, they are pretty much the ones that have all the streams on Spotify. That today seems to be the the metric by which people judge music, which is disappointing. I mean, one of the things that we're doing with the label is we are manufacturing CDs that will be shipped and sold with the CD player, because we're trying. I mean, it's going to be reasonably priced. So kids these days that sounds so old saying that. Kids these days don't know what it's like to listen to music properly. But kids these days don't really experience the as you were talking about in the preamble before we started the conversation. I grew up with albums, and I looked at the album and I took it out and it smelled a certain way, and there was an inner sleeve and there were lyrics, and you could get really immersed in this idea of an entire album. And it is a sit down experiential piece of art, and something happened where that was removed. Now CDs maintained that tangible aspect of things. Now you can buy CD players for very cheap. A lot of people don't own them anymore. Like when I play live shows, I sell CDs. I've sold more CDs, ironically and strangely, over the last few years than I did in the entire time when CDs were more popular, because people want something signed. They want their name on it. They want my signature. It's a memento, but they don't actually ever play it. Now we decided if you give people actually a CD player, then they will have an incentive to sit down and listen to the record from start to finish, all the way through. Because I do that all the time. There are certain albums which I just put on and I will listen. I will experience that record, because when you make music and when you make art, it is incredibly important to get the sequencing right, to get the track listing correct, because that's the trajectory of the thought of the record. I mean, my last two records, Hone Tatamae and Elysium, I put so much time and thought into which song followed which song. Sometimes I put little transition sections to get from song to song, because the narrative of the story of the album is as important as any individual song. Now, you may have a hit on that album, which is what we've done, and we've selected certain hits, but we've selected and I keep on putting hits in inverted commas because, there are plenty of people don't know who I am, so they don't know them as hits. But what we've done is we've selected songs that we feel fit in the certain theme of the album. And the theme of the album is joy, it's love, it's forgiveness, it's those things. So also they're the poppiest songs I've ever done, and they're the most open-minded songs which say, come in, be part of this. Whereas a lot of my songs are very personal. So I like to combine the open with the extremely personal, because all my experience of writing, a lot of people get in touch with me over songs I would not ever have expected them to hear properly. And they say, listen, this song, and it would be a really miserable song about being unhappy. And they say, this song told me that somebody else feels this way, and it made me feel better about feeling this way. I've had several people tell me, oh, this song, your song stopped me from considering suicide, for example, which that's a burden to hear, because obviously nobody wants to hear that somebody is going there. But the fact that they'd listen to this song and it would help them. And those are the very personal ones, strangely, not the big hits, the personal ones. because they talk about very nuanced emotional matters. And so the Hits album, this is more about trying to reach more people. This is more about trying to bring people together. This is more about just putting love out into the world. This is not about my petty gripes.
Yeah. So that is why I asked the question about the consideration of what a hit is, because if we're going by numbers, the numbers game, the ones that really matter can get overlooked. I mean, that's how I consume music.
Sure.
I take the experience. Sometimes I'm going through something, I hear just one line or one melody. That's the sweet spot. And I say, hey, I know this song is not the most popular song, but it works for me because it's the soundtrack of what I'm going through right now. And that's what I would consider a hit, because it touches a spot in my heart or in my brain or in my soul that says, this is what you needed to hear at the time.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing with albums. If
Yeah.
you're listening to the album, you buy the album because you hear the hit, right? I mean, I'm a big Cure fan, for example.
Okay.
And when the album Disintegration came out, which I was already a big fan, so I was always going to buy the album. But the big hits were Love Song and Lullaby, these songs, and I end up skipping those songs because it's the deep cuts. It's the ones that really, as you say, they touch you emotionally. It feels like you're being understood by the artist, and that they are narrating your story. They're narrating the nuance of your emotional life in the same way, so you feel part of it. And I'm so grateful to people like David Bowie and to Kate Bush and to Robert Smith from The Cure for writing how I felt when I was not able to express it myself. And John Lennon was another one that does that for me. And I feel, you understood. If you feel understood by somebody else, it gives you strength, doesn't it?
It does. It does. You said people may not know who you are. So for those who may not know who you are, of course, there's the internet, but who are you, Julian?
I'm just a musician. I've been doing this for a long time, and I have no choice. I mean, I've had ups and downs with my career, and I've just finished being in a band touring the world for 10 years straight, and that's just come to an end. And I do, I make music every day. I can't not make music. I have a studio. I just need to put out songs, and it is therapy for me. Like, as I was saying, with the Betrayal series, there's this series of quite significant betrayals I've come under recently. And the way I deal with it, and the way I achieve peace, and the way I attain forgiveness, or I attain the ability to forgive, is by writing it down, by being angry, but being angry in a way that is productive and that gives beauty. And I promoted one song with, I was very, very angry with somebody who let me down incredibly badly. And the song is a very angry song. But in the promotional aspect of that, I realized so many people had reached out to me over the fact that they'd been betrayed, they'd been let down, they'd been horribly disrespected, or whatever it was. And so I did a sigil, which is like a magic spell. You create the magic spell related to forgiveness and closure, and you burn the magic spell, and you say the name of the person, and you give back the anger and the frustration. You give it back to the universe, and you cleanse it from your heart, because you have to clean your own heart every day from all the rubbish that the world throws at you to maintain the eyes and the soul of a child. Because if you're not a child, you get weighed down by everything. And I think I'd like to maintain, as an adult, I am an adult, and I have a daughter, and I look after her as a father, but I need to maintain joy, and the only way I can do that is by accessing that childish part. And I think that's the play of the world, the lila, they call it in Ayurvedic Indian tradition. We have to play in the world. And if we don't play, then life is just a constant struggle.
Wow, Julian.
That doesn't answer your question at all, does it?
Well, it does, and it gives me more questions to ask. So keep talking, man. Well, Julian, before I ask those questions, because I think they're going to get pretty deep, but where do you come from?
I was born in England, in Leeds, which is in the north of England. It's kind of, if you can imagine where Manchester and Liverpool are, you just go right across the country, and it's in the middle. It's the furthest city from the ocean that you can get in England. And I'm Welsh, Scottish, Irish, Pakistani. That's my blood background. Nice. And I went to boarding school. I went to Hogwarts. The basis for Hogwarts was boarding school.
Truly magical.
It was pretty magical. They didn't teach me any magic, only how to sing.
But you're doing some form of magic now, right?
I 100% believe that. I tell my daughter all the time, it's like the real practical magic isn't waving your wand and making something appear. What it is it's saying words to people that communicate with them, that make their life better, that manifest good things. That's magic. And that is words.
Yeah. Man, you have all the parts that I've ever read in a book. You know, the boarding school, the musical talents, the magic, the words, the intellect. You have the looks. You got it going on, man. Yes, sir. So you mentioned that you don't have a choice to do music. Like, you have to do this. Why is that? Why don't you have a choice, Julian?
I don't know. I mean, I wake up with songs in my head. I hear songs in my dreams. I mean, I've always heard music everywhere, whether it be, the sputtering of an engine or the mellifluous lilt of a baby cry. Everything contains melody and everything contains rhythm. The world pulses on strings, tiny little strings pulsing. That is what the universe is created from. Everything is music. And if you can tap into that, and as I say, it's therapy. I mean, if it's the lyric, and if I can take anger and frustration and turn it into beautiful melody that can communicate something to somebody, that's all I need. I need communication. I want to communicate with other people. I love people. People are wonderful, and they can be misled and ignorant, but in their core, if you really boil it deep down, everybody is a pure soul that has been loaded with experience. And if the experience has been filtered through cynicism and anger and frustration, then that person can become bitter. And that's why some people are bad people. And I don't think anybody's a bad person, but that's why they become that way, is because experience is a bitch. Sometimes it can destroy you and ruin you. And I've had a very charmed life, but I've also had so many negative experiences and people killing themselves left, right, and center surrounding me, and disappointments all the time and all these things. But I hope that I will maintain this is just to keep my head up high, which is quotation from one of my songs, actually. Just to be, the world is beautiful. The universe sings. And if you can experience and accept that, then life can be beautiful for anybody. If you wish to maintain your pain body, as Eckhart Tolle calls it, that's on you, and that's fine. And I don't have any, I can't say anything about that, but I wish people wouldn't, because, we can all connect if we really want.
Absolutely. You mentioned people coming up to you saying that, and this is not verbatim, but that you saved their life through your music. A certain lyric helped them not, off themselves. Right. Do you feel some sense of responsibility for others' emotions through your music?
No, not really. I mean, that's hard, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
George Harrison he felt, obviously, Charlie Manson interpreted the Beatles' White Album as an encouragement to rise up against the piggies in charge, and he misinterpreted that. I think he was maybe made some anti-Semitic interpretations of that, and of course George Harrison was just writing a silly song. So you just kind of have to distance yourself, in the same way as I just went to see the film Michael last night, and I love Michael Jackson. It's wonderful, wonderful artist, and it's a really good film. I enjoyed it. May not have dealt with things that, the whole story. And there are people who would like to, have Michael cancelled, and for whatever reason. But I think you have to separate the art from the person. And especially if you're writing something that helps somebody, that's great. But if somebody blames you for something, if it's not your intention, then you have to be removed from it. So no, I mean, I appreciate that people have been so affected emotionally by what I've done. I really do. I feel honored, but I also don't feel responsible for that. That was them interpreting what I was doing, not me doing what they're telling me that I did. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And that's truly sad when you are an enemy of the state. I'm not going to dive too deep into that. Just being in the industry and knowing certain things, it can eat you alive when you don't play by the rules. There's one artist who did get caught with his hand in the cookie jar, and now he's paying for that, rightfully so. But no, I'll leave it at that. All right. So consciously, when people tell you that your music potentially saved their life, consciously, do you think about what you're writing and putting into your songs?
Yeah. I mean, I'm being a bit flippant in saying that I don't feel responsible, but there was on my second, it was named under the Singularity. I've changed all the names now because it's Julian Shah-Tayler is how I'm going. But the second album, there was a song at the end, and the song was about actually me having a crush on a girl. Most of them are a bit like that. And, it was on the album. It was the reason I put it last on the album is actually because it was a weird song I didn't think anybody would listen to. So it went last on the album. And I'm very proud of it. It's great. Sounds great. The production values on it were really cool. It's like I felt like I did something really cool with the production. So the song coupled with the production, it's like that goes on the album. And then that young lady actually from Dallas or Texas, she got in touch with me. She just come out of the blue and said, that song, really helped me. I think she's bipolar or something. So she was in one of the downward spirals, and she listened to that song, and it's about hurricanes and earthquakes, because it's a true story actually, but it's about hurricanes and earthquakes. And of course she took it as being emotional hurricanes and emotional earthquakes, which is fine. That's I like to put double meanings in everything I do. So after she told me that, and that I saved her life, I think she was being dramatic. I don't think it's a real, possibility. But after that, the next album, I did make sure that I sort of slanted anything I was writing towards the light a little bit. What I've done in my life is I have written songs that have told my future. This is very self-examining of me and very solipsistic in a way, but I have told my future in songs. And suddenly I realized I wrote this exact scenario and story 5 years ago. Didn't mean anything then, but now I've just ran straight into this stupid wall that I built for myself.
Wow.
In this song.
Yeah.
So I'm making it sure now. I mean, the last album is the Hone Tatamae album, the #2 New Wave podcast album. It's a great record, but it's a really down record. It's bleak because it was at the end of a relationship, and it made a lot of the songs are about failure and disappointment and upset. And the last song on that album is called Lights Out, which is about the ecological death of the world So it's a dark album. It isn't fun. And I'm realizing now that I want to manifest good things, because manifesting is, this hippie ideal, or it's not even a hippie ideal anymore. It's just sort of, the people who read The Secret and this stuff like that. It is real and it happens. And I don't want to manifest negative, horrible things for myself. Certainly not now. I want to push that up. I want to go towards the light, or what they say. So I am very, very conscious about what I'm writing and how it affects me, and to a degree how it affects other people. I want people to be elevated, not, brought low by what I do.
Yeah, man. And I could totally agree. Some would say that manifestation is a hippie or new age idea. To me, man, you are what you say you are, just like you are what you eat. Oh, and for the record, Julian, if you want to hide a record from me, you have to put it or hide it in a ballad. Like first and last record, I'm going to listen to how the record begins and how it ends. But if you want to hide a song from me, you have to put in a ballad.
Okay.
Ballads put me to sleep. I'm just kidding.
I love my ballads.
Yeah, that's why I said I'm just kidding. I know you do ballads. And also for the people who buy CDs, I buy two, one to listen and one to go on my shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll send you my PayPal link.
All right, do that. I'll support.
But
now, if the shipping is outrageous because I'm in the States, then I'll just donate. How about that? And you can give it away. And you can give it away.
That stuff is. I'm in the States, but
okay,
that stuff's crazy. I mean, I've been shipping CDs to people for a while, and I'd much rather do it hand to hand, because shipping costs more than the CD costs to make.
Dude, it doubled in the last 10 years like crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
I think they took advantage of COVID with the prices.
I think what happened in COVID is that a lot of money got distributed, because everybody got the payouts and the handouts and the stuff like that, and so a lot of money that was earmarked for, I don't know, the wealthy went back to the poor. So now they're angry about it. They're trying to siphon it all back again.
You know how that goes. Right.
I know, it's a cycle, isn't it? So always. Yeah. And now all the gas prices and the airfare prices, like it's hard to be a touring musician even at this point. So I just want to make music. I want to do what we're doing, and I want to turn people one by one a degree more loving. That's all I want to do. And if I can do that with 100 people, that's way beneath my ambition. But if I can do that, I'll be happy.
I hear that. For listeners discovering you for the very first time, how would you describe your sound and artistic world?
Well, throughout my career, I've been on the sort of darker areas. People always describe me as a mix between David Bowie, Depeche Mode, and Prince. There's a lot of darkness and sort of textural stuff going on. It's quite electronic, but there's also a lot of, my first artist I fell in love with was Prince. So a lot of the rhythms are more on that sort of like Princey vibe, but then a lot of the songwriting is more on the art rock Bowie vibe. So it's an interesting combination, and I also go kind of psychedelic. I'm a classically trained musician for 10 years. So there's a lot of classical influence in there too. It wouldn't show, but I won't write a song generally that will be repetitive and boring. I will always put lots of effort into making the song develop in an interesting way. So that doesn't necessarily work on the radio, because, in the radio, they just want bang, 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 simple. And I do have a few of those, and I'm very proud of it. Every song is my baby, man. I put a lot of time and love and effort into every song, lyrically, production-wise, instrumentally. I play all the instruments myself. except when I have special guests. So I'd say 95% of my music is just me. It's a little it's a little insular. It's so I never get anybody to tell me, okay, that's crap, stop it. So maybe everything I release is crap. It's just I think it's okay. and see, some other people do as well, so it's all right.
I thought you said your training didn't show in your work. You just told me you play almost every instrument on your projects.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely shows.
Well, I mean, what I mean is it's not classical. It doesn't, it doesn't follow classical form or anything like that.
Like chromatic scales and things of that nature.
There's a lot of interesting chord changes and things like that. But I would say that's more comes from Bowie than classical music, though. I mean, classical music has rules, and I certainly break all of those.
I think you're being very modest about it. I've heard some of the records, man.
I don't think very many people that know me would call me modest, but thank you.
Nah. First impressions, Julian. First impressions. So, what inspired this new album emotionally?
The Greatest Hits one, or the last one we were talking about? Because the last one was failure and misery and breakup of a relationship. This new one is joy, heading towards the light, but it is a remake of all these 10 songs. I do have another album, which is in the barrel, so to speak. It's already done, which is very personal, and it's there's no synths on it. I've for some weird reason, I've been known for synths and keyboard stuff, and I'm not a synth guy necessarily. I'm more a guitar player, and I enjoy writing songs. Like I write songs on an acoustic guitar, and I develop them like that, and on the piano and develop them like that. And so this next album, after the Greatest Hits one, which is called Easy to Love, the next one is called Hiraeth, and that's a Welsh word which means it means a yearning for a place or a time that may never have existed. Because a lot of it's about my youth and my it's a yearning record. It's like it's remembering situations. Like one of them is about the first time I made love to this beautiful woman, and that specific situation as a diamond in time in my life was very, very important to me, and I wrote about it exactly, and the song came out beautifully, and I never released it because I didn't get married to her. I got married to somebody else who wouldn't have liked that song coming in at that time. So it got shelved, but it's great. So now it's coming out because there's been enough time and distance. So this is kind of a collection of songs that didn't fit other albums. There are only a couple of new songs on it, but they're really good songs, but they're songwriter songs. So it is more, I'm more about the hyper personal, the capsulating moments in time, and it's mostly just about girls, because that's my big weakness.
Girls
through my life, girls is my big weakness. When I stopped, doing the drugs and things, they're not my weakness anymore. Still girls, and I have a daughter, so it's like I'm in trouble.
Yeah, man. I think girls are a lot of our weaknesses.
Yeah.
I just left Houston just yesterday, and I was like, "Oh man, I cannot move here. I would be in trouble."
Yeah, I love Houston for the nightlife and for the bars and things, but it's a vast place.
It is much so like Hollywood. Well, no, Hollywood's a different story. Going on about Hollywood, but anyhow, what do you hope people feel after listening to the album from beginning to end?
I hope that they feel, as I say, it's joy, it's connection. I want people to be connected by my work always. I crave those connections from people who tell me this really helped me. I crave it. It's wonderful when that happens, but it's also daunting, So, but I really hope that this album, Easy to Love, I think there's the song Easy. I hope people understand it, because it's an easy song to sing. It's an earworm, and it's kind of annoying and annoyingly earworm, but the message inside is one of acceptance and peace and love your neighbor and love yourself and forgive, the bad things. Be fully present in who you are and what the universe is providing for you. And that's what I really, really want from this next album. There's a song called Perfect on it, and it's about being perfectly in love with the exact right person. There's a song called Living in a Dream, which is, we can create the reality we wish to spend our life in. We just need to choose to bend the arc of history towards the light, and that means our history as much as it means civilizational history. And if we allow ourselves to fall into those sort of negative holes, then that's kind of our fault. We really need to we need to elevate ourselves from these things. And I think that's what I want people to understand. It's like you have the power and the energy and the love inside yourself to do anything you can. It is within the breath that we breathe. It is within the connections we make. And, choose love. Just, that's all I want. I want people to hear what I do and choose love for themselves, for other people, for acceptance. That's something I really hope that I'm putting out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Julian, do you have a favorite track on the album personally?
This new one, the greatest hits one?
Mm-hmm.
Easy by very, very much so. It's, as I say, it's this very spiritual song. It's a Trojan horse of a song. It's an earworm which has a really deep message. If you can hear the message, some people won't hear it. Some people just hear the melody and they'll sing along and it's fine. But if they sit and listen to the lyric, they might understand what it's trying to do.
What does it do for you?
It makes me remember what I'm saying to you, which is, love. Love, love, love. I feel like a real hippie in this interview. Normally I don't speak like this.
You're doing great, man. You're dropping some real jewels. I have some things to go back and listen to because your perspective on just experience in life, it's truly mind opening. And I'm just soaking up things. Like, I have a million questions, but I know I can't get to them all. Just based off the things that you're telling me. And I know I'm supposed to stick to some kind of script, but you're just such an interesting artist that you're not allowing me to do that. I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't mind. Whatever works. It always happens.
It always happens, man. So, okay, I love that. And, you mentioned earlier that you were giving away portable CD players. With the album purchases, and this feels like a mission. This is to make music feel personal again. What do you think people have lost in this whole streaming short song era that we are in?
I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, when Bohemian Rhapsody came out, for example, I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody isn't even that long, but it feels like a meal, right? And when you listen to your 15-second TikTok sound, it feels like a blip. It feels like something that's really, it is losing any meaning behind music. And music is the one universal art form. I mean, obviously there's sculpture and there's dance, but music is something that is in every culture in the world, and music connects people. If you can sing a simple melody, you can join with an entire community of people, and you can, I love seeing that. In Wales, they have a lot of this, where Ireland, you're in the pub and everybody's singing along to these songs. In all different cultures around the world, music is a connector. And now music just seems to be atomized into tiny little fragments. Now, if you can sit down and watch a movie, then you can sit down and listen to an album. and you can listen to an album because it engages your imagination. You don't watch the album, you listen to the album, and it can engage your imagination. It can communicate something much deeper than simply poetry because it's set to, to sound. So I think that because we're giving away these CD players, hopefully people will sit with it and say it will be a curiosity, it will be a novelty, and they'll go, oh wow, this is cool, and they'll sit and they'll listen to the whole thing, and they'll get the sequencing. And the sequencing is going to be a big part of when we finish off the album. There's 10 songs on it, probably 2 extra tracks, which will only be available on the physical media. And, it may be it may be very expensive for us to do this. I mean, it might not make us any money, but we'd rather have people investing their time in something that's beautiful. I mean, genuinely, I want people to get the experience of my art and the intention behind it, which is love and acceptance. And I want them to sit down and absorb that for themselves as much as for everybody else they meet. And that's the only way you can get kids to sit down, is to give them something to play with. It's going to have artwork, it's going to have all that stuff. And we might even, put a branding on the CD player. I'm not sure. We haven't quite figured that one out yet. But I think it's a way of making people just sit with something and listen to it all the way through. Because otherwise they skip the song and they miss maybe the song that, we were talking earlier. It's like the one in the middle of the album that isn't the hit. That's the one that would really make their life better that day. Maybe that's the one that will give them a message that they'll take to the end of their life. I don't know how many songs you've heard that have just really suddenly it makes a click in your mind. You can almost hear the click, and it puts something in there that you can never forget.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at least that's the way I try to consume music. I was with a buddy on a road trip, and he's playing 30 seconds of each song off a playlist. I'm like, dude, either you're a terrible DJ or I feel like I'm in an A&R meeting. What is going on? He's like, well, 30 seconds is all I need. I said, dude, you got to let it ride. We're on a road trip. Let the music ride.
It's funny. We did a lot of touring with the last band I just left. Yeah. And I loved it when I was driving because I control the CD player, not CD player, the Spotify playlist, unfortunately. And what I would do is I'd just play a whole album all the way through, and nobody was allowed to take it off. I just listened to it all the way through. And it's sometimes those road trips are the only times you get to sit down and do exactly what I'm saying, So I would love. I was supposed to be doing this art show, which unfortunately I've had to cancel because it wasn't quite doing the way I wanted it to. But I'd like to control a listening room with projections and just soft couches where you can just play the whole album and allow it to envelop you in the thing, and just switch off your mind and just allow the music to carry you somewhere. Not just give you a bop for 15 seconds and then scroll by. Nah, that isn't me though. I don't really do that. I'm a guy that listens all the way through. Yeah. What's your number one record? What's the one you listen to all the way through?
I have several. My go-to right now. Wow, this is going to be kind of hard with Spotify. I'm like the certified playlist genius when it comes to mixing music and projects. But if I have to remember correctly, it's probably this band called DC Talk.
DC Talk.
Yeah, they released an album called Supernatural, and that is one album I can play from top to bottom, even the ballad and the poem that's in it. That's super long. I still can, I wince at it every now and then, but I sit through it and I can appreciate it.
I'm gonna put that on my playlist right now. Supernatural remastered.
Supernatural. Yeah.
Got it. I'm gonna listen to that as soon as we're done.
Yeah. And Charlie, I know you're gonna watch this or listen to it, either or, but Julian gets it. He who drives controls the playlist.
That's the rules.
That is the rule. Nobody believes me, but that is the rule.
Oh, for sure.
Alright. So, Julian, what advice would you give artists trying to stand out in today's music industry?
I'm probably the worst at giving advice on how to stand out. I just do what I want to do. And if people come around to you, then great. If they don't come around to you, just create art, create all the time. Just do what your heart tells you. And one day you'll hit on something and everybody will say, well, that was great.
Mm.
And if they don't, continue until that happens, because it isn't about becoming, I mean, for me, I should say, it isn't about becoming a millionaire who's, just churning out music and people are consuming it like mad. I don't want to be Ed Sheeran. I want to just do what makes me satisfied and happy. The thing that I want to be is authentic to myself. I want to be able to have the catharsis, the psychotherapy of writing songs the way I do them. And I have tried to write songs, that communicate with people. Some of them have, and some of them haven't. And you can't control it. You just have to keep on making art, and it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Julian, is there something fans will be surprised to learn about you? I'm sure we've learned a ton. I have. But your seasoned fans who go with you along your journeys through the dark phases, through the light phases, through the love, through the aggression, through all the emotions that you express, the experiences you go through. Still, though, is there something that fans will be surprised to learn about you?
That's an interesting question. You've found something I'm speechless for. I don't really know. I'm a huge Norah Jones fan. That's my guilty pleasure artist. I mean, that's a bit on the nose because it's a music artist. And I really like peace and quiet. I don't know. You stumped me. I got nothing for you. Sorry.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Let's see if I can pull it out of you. I'm going to conjure up my inner Oprah, Dr. Phil, and see if I can bring it out. No, I was just playing. But music consumption, we know it's different. It's incredibly fast. Not for me, but for other people around me, it seems. Do you think people still truly listen anymore? Is it evident?
I think it's funny actually. I've met, and I do a David Bowie tribute show every now and then where I play David Bowie songs and dress like him and do that stuff. And I've met kids who are really, 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 really into music through those shows, who then become big fans of mine too, which is great because that's exactly the right trajectory. And yeah, they do. They are as invested as I ever was, but they're just a bit few and farther and fewer between, if that makes sense. I just don't think there are as many of them as there used to be, because now everybody can access music anywhere they go. And I think that's the problem, is that it's not even iPods anymore. iPods kind of started the erosion of that process. Now it's Spotify. Now you can just be on your phone and you can be walking around and it's in the background and you're listening to this thing. Some of these kids understand, and they're getting back into vinyl. They're getting back into CDs, and they are taking pride in their investment in some ways. It's like, classical music never went away. It just got a much smaller audience. So the small audience, however, still maintains. So I think there will come a time where it will tip back the other way. I think there will come a time when TikTok is no longer the primary musical consumption. These things they all go in cycles, don't they? So I'm not really disenchanted by the whole process. I just think we just have to weather it out. It's like the whole arc of human civilization goes in a big wheel. Mm-hmm. And each time we're at the top of the wheel, we go, this is it. This is what life is going to be like now. Everybody's going to be great and everybody's going to be happy and, everybody's going to be accepting. And then That's not so. It always goes to the point where we have, oh no, everything's going wrong and the world's going to explode. And then no, it isn't. It's going to go back again. And we're just going to witness it. And you and I, in our lifetime, will witness it 3 times, maybe, if we're lucky. And we'll say, you know, I remember when I was your age.
It seems like every form of medium of music has changed in some form or fashion through the time. When I was a musician, I used to record on what they call a data disc.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sort of a vinyl type of record.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm just really going back. That's terrible. Anyhow, we survived the MySpace age. We survived a lot of stuff, and
MySpace was actually great for music. If you remember, it's like it was the first sort of flowering of MP3s, so you could really reach people. And I got loads of fans coming in from all over the place, and you could geo-target them and say, well, you know, if I'm coming to California this time, I can find 50 people I know in California. And with Facebook, it doesn't give you that facility. So we've turned into a more commercial thing. I need to point something out, which is very interesting. Somebody pointed out to me the other day that when Frank Sinatra was starting, people listened to playlists on the radio, and they only had 45 records. And it was Frank Sinatra that put those 45s and put them all together in an album that you could buy. And then suddenly the age of the album started rising. So we're just back at the age of the single now.
Yeah. Wow.
So maybe that's just going to go further. You know, people are going to say, well, I'm not getting what I want from Doja Cat. Not to disrespect Doja Cat, she's lovely. But at the end of the day, it's like, it is perfect music for that sort of TikTok context.
Yeah.
Doja Cat will make a record that is an album at some point, which she's really put her heart and soul into. And she does any. I'm sorry, I don't know. I didn't pick on Doja Cat for any specific reason. I love Doja Cat. I just think that she's done very well on the TikTok context.
Yeah.
When she makes an album that she feels is, you know, mature and invested, that I'm sure she will do that, and that will then lead the people back into that context. And you know, there are people like me who's just been making this long form music throughout the TikTok era, and you know, nobody's listening to it because it takes more than 15 seconds to understand. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how long it will take, but it will come back. And there are still many of us, still many kids who are doing it. It's not a sustainable artist's income enough, but you know, if you do it for the right reasons, which is to express yourself and not because you think you're going to be a millionaire, you can't fail in music. You can't fail in art.
Yeah. I'm not a Doja Cat fan. I listened to one project from song to song, and that was what was it? Paint the Town Red, I think was a EP. Pretty solid project, but that's where it stops. No more Doja Cat.
It's funny. I have an interesting relationship with her because I remixed that song, actually, Paint the Town Red.
Really?
And, with one of my clients that I work with a lot. And I think we did a really fun remix of it. And I really like that song. And the first time I ever heard Doja Cat was this song she did where she's dressed like a cow. And it's like, I think it was like, bitch, I'm a cow. Bitch, I'm a cow. I'm not a cat. I don't say meow. Bitch, I'm a cow. I say moo. And it's really funny. And it's really self-aware. And it's really silly. And I mean, obviously she's beautiful. She's such a beautiful woman. And so I was watching that video, just like really being charmed by this like lack of self-consciousness. So I really like Doja Cat. I don't know that much of her music, I got to be honest, but I was only picking on her because that Paint the Town Red was the one TikTok song that was every single thing I saw on TikTok when I first joined was that song.
Yeah.
Like 15 seconds and she made herself into a huge star.
Right. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It is. And I've never consumed music that way, and I still don't. Every now and then I'll get on there. Someone sends me a TikTok. I don't know what you call them, reels or shorts or just TikToks, and I would hear a real cool song. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. Uh, but that is not my medium to consume music. Speaking of that, man, has social media ever conflicted with your artistic process?
I have a very fractious relationship with social media because it is such a necessary part of what we do as artists now. Excuse me, especially as somebody who has the only people who really follow me in a real sense are people that know me personally on social media. I mean, obviously it's not really personal, but on social media, I have lots of people who are invested in me and like the fact that I'm actually on there and I'm actually replying to them. And I've met lots of them, and some of them have come out to see me play, but the relationship stays as a sort of social media thing in the main. So I don't resent having to be there and connecting with these people because I love these people. They're really great supporters. But I resent the fact that I had to be there to meet them in the first place, and that it isn't a real relationship in some ways. So I don't know. I mean, I think the world would have probably got along quite fine without Facebook and TikTok, and we may have lost something in moving into that realm. I mean, I spend my days replying to people who are writing rude things to me on my David Bowie page, saying, this guy isn't David Bowie. He can't sing like David Bowie. I'm like, yeah, well, thank you. That's because I'm me. And I think they're really annoyed that they can't upset me. Yeah. But there must be, I mean, it gives people a platform to be cruel as well with impunity, which is a problem. And I mean, why would you go up to somebody in the street and say, hey man, you're ugly. Your hair is a horrible color. Why you've got blue hair? You're ugly, you're stupid, and you've got blue hair. Why do you even exist? They wouldn't. Yeah. But they would on TikTok. They would on Facebook.
Yeah, they I guess they feel comfortable behind the barrier that prevents them from getting punched in the face, like Mike Tyson would say. Exactly. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
No, exactly right, though. I mean, it's like, I mean, obviously violence is not the answer, but we certainly, I mean, it has made discourse coarser and crueler. And it's also, I mean, also some of the most wonderful and cherished relationships of my life have been started on social media. So it's both things, and it is possible to be both things. It's just I feel it has given rise to a new type of bullying, which is pretty awful. That's something I don't like about it.
Definitely. Now, I don't condone violence, and I wouldn't go around punching people in the face.
I know.
But it just gives a sense that people have some form of like, all right, I'm safe. I can say whatever I want to say to anybody in the world and not face any kind of consequences. Of course, unless it's a racist remark or some kind of bigotry or, some kind of things that you're not supposed to cross the line on when it comes to verbiage and guidelines.
But they have some very strange rules on Meta, certainly, because I mean I had something where I was blocked from doing things for a month for something really stupid. It's like people are saying really unkind and rude things to me, and I wrote something which was a joke, which had no hate aspect to it at all, and I was blocked from acting for a month. And the algorithm had determined that I was advocating drug use, which I absolutely wasn't. It was a joke, and it took away all my privileges. And it's like, well, I guess they're not going to take away the privileges of these people who are literally describing me as a shit emoji. It's like, okay, well, where are your? I don't really understand it.
The standards are backwards.
Yeah, very, very backwards.
I'm just surprised that you actually replied to the hate comments.
I find it fun, to be honest. I mean, I've done it several times where the person has then backed down and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to be rude, and you know, I can see that you're doing your best or whatever." And that is an achievement to me, because you know, as I say, I try to put out as much positivity as I can in any context I can, and if I can do something to somebody and make them sort of reconsider that there's a person here. And unfortunately for them, there's a person here who's kind of got their shit together and can make you look silly if they really want to. So, but I would never do that. It's pointless doing that. But it helps for them to just sort of, if you're screaming rude things at somebody and they're not reacting, you can be a bit self-reflective on the reason why you're screaming rude things at them, I hope.
Yeah. It's definitely a look in the mirror when that happens. It's like, oh, wow. I mean, I think they can really sense themselves being a jerk in that moment.
I hope so. I mean,
yeah.
I think it's the dad in me. You know, I whenever my daughter is you know, she gets really wound up by somebody at school, I just tell her to slow down and just, you know, just realize that it's not personal and just chill and go with the flow. Like I think the meditation really helps. I think transcendental meditation, I haven't mentioned it for a good half hour.
Yeah. All right. Well, listeners and watchers, there's something I want to do. I have a video called Stay by David Bowie, covered by Julian. I think I'm going to get this right. Shah-Tayler.
You got it. Perfect.
Got it. Perfect. All right. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Me so slowly, the days fell on their knees. Maybe I'll take something to help me. Hope someone takes after me. Guess there's always some change in the weather. This time I know we could get it together. If I did casually mention tonight, that would be crazy tonight. That's what I meant to say. Or do something, but what I never say. Stay this time, really meant you so bad this time. 'Cause you can never really tell when somebody wants something you want to. Heartbreaker make me delight. Life is so vague when it brings someone new. This time tomorrow I'll know what to do. I know it's happened to you. Stay, that's what I meant to say. Or do something, but what I never say. Stay this time, really meant you so bad this time. 'Cause you can never really tell when somebody wants something to stay. That's what I meant to say, or do something with what I never say. You stay this time, I really meant you so bad this time. 'Cause you can never really tell when somebody wants something you want to.
All right. Welcome back again. That was Stay by David Bowie, but covered by Julian Shah-Tayler. Oh, so Julian's voice is incredible. I'm just going to put that out there. And
thank you.
yes, sir. Man. You hit some notes, brother, that I think you're going to become one of those primary artists on my playlist. I'm about to squeeze you in on the road trip.
I hope so. I'd be very honored. Thank you.
Definitely. Also, what I like about that video, there was a weathered book that read Echoes of the Past with some pictures. I don't know, for that little scene, just I had a lot of nights like that where I have memoirs and mentos and photos and old things hanging around in the back of my brain from echoes of the past that, you know, sometimes over a drink or a smoke. I don't know. That scene was just surreal for me. So appreciate the artistry, brother.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's that's part of the Station to Station. I did a whole full album cover of the David Bowie album. It's 50 years old this year.
Wow.
And obviously Bowie's been a very resonant thread in my life and my career, because I've worked with a lot of his associates, and I met him one time, and I think I'm one of the only people who tributes Bowie who's ever actually done work with his band members. So I think it's an honor and a great privilege. Carmine Rojas and Mike Garson and Kevin Armstrong, who I am blessed to call friends and associates and compatriots. So it feels surreal to have those guys on my record, you know.
Yeah, I could imagine. Wow. I don't know if I could pull that off.
I'm sure. You know, if you get to know people and they take an interest in your work, it's always a possibility. I mean, that's it. Don't expect it to propel you into the stratosphere, but it certainly helps, and it's a great honor. It's a surreal. I've lived a very surreal life, and it's less than half over.
And it'll definitely help if you have the vocals of Julian.
Thank you, sir. You're very kind.
For sure, man. Before we let you go, for someone listening tonight or watching whenever this airs, who feels emotionally disconnected, overwhelmed by noise, or burnt out by the speed of modern life, what is one thing music, specifically your music, can still teach us about being human?
I think it's just the matter of slowing down and finding that space within specific types of music. Like my record, which takes me somewhere and places me there, and it's a retreat. It's a psychological retreat. It's like, for me, transcendental meditation as a practice. And there's an album by Talk Talk called Spirit of Eden, which is all enveloping, and it creates a space which allows you to just forget about everything, all the stuff that in the world that troubles you. Yes, you have to deal with it. You can't ignore it. It won't go away. But you can retreat for a 35-minute period of time, and you can just be enveloped by this beautiful sonorous bath of music and experience it, be inside it. And I think that particular album, Spirit of Eden, Talk Talk, that is that record. It isn't challenging in any way. It is a very arty piece of music. It's jazz oriented, but it gives you this sort of timeless, spaceless area that can just be yours for that 35 minutes or 40 minutes, however long the record is. And I think that you need to find that for yourself. Like, that is what, it's a refuge from the world. That is what some music can do, whether it be, Beethoven's Pastoral Symphony, that another piece is absolutely gorgeous. Debussy's Clair de Lune. Like, there are certain things, if you can retreat and allow that to inhabit you. Like, people move very fast in their life. Life is very fast. It rushes by you at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I think most people need to understand that to get a grip on everything, you need to slow down and allow yourself to slow down. Some people smoke weed to do that. Whatever does it for you. For me, it's listening to a record that has peace in it, that has slowness, because that's what we need. We need slowness. Everything's going at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Absolutely. Where can our listeners connect with you on the internet and check out more music?
JulianShah-TaylerMusic.com. Taylor with an E. There's a lot of stuff there. And obviously I have YouTube, I have Facebook, I have a TikTok, I have an Instagram, I have all the things. I'll send you my link tree so you can put it in the comments or whatever if you like. And as I say, I love connection. If people want to reach out and talk to me or send me messages or whatever, I'm very happy to do that. I spend a lot of my time just replying to people's messages.
Lovely. And listeners and watchers, just in case you need those links, and I know you will, I will have them in the description of this episode and in the show notes, and also in the comments like Julian suggested. So it'll be easy for you to find him. I have the website, I have the Instagram, the Facebook, the YouTube, the SoundCloud, everything that you need to become fans. Or if you just want to leave a message for him, and I'm sure he will answer you back, as he said he does periodically. Just want to catch his attention, say something, and I'm sure he'll reply back. So
always happy to connect.
Yeah. So tonight's conversation reminded us that music was never supposed to be disposable. It was supposed to move us, stay with us, become part of our memories. And Julian isn't just releasing music. He's creating experiences that ask people to slow down, as he said, to reconnect emotionally and remember what it feels like to truly listen again. So make sure you check out the new album, support the music. I think the music should feel personal again, movement, and experience the project the way it was meant to be heard. If you're like me, you buy 2 CDs, one for listening and one for to put on your shelf, a trophy of some sort. Because this isn't radio. This isn't just radio. This is revival. Thank you so much, Julian, for being our guest tonight.
You got it. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been a real pleasure.
Absolutely, man. Take care.